Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to Ames Nation. My name is Amabla, aka The Fallen King, and as always, today's gonna be lit. Alright, so into today's video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be studying basically. I'm going to be practicing for an exam, a test that is coming up very soon, and I apologize for the buzz that's going on in the background, but please hang with me and let's get into today's video. Alright, so this right here, this is a quick test with the setup of a course to make sure that the camera is working and is in good view of me, and also to make sure the audio is working. And like I said, I really apologize for the fact that there's buzzing that's going on in the background, but please hang in there with me.
Today we are going to discuss some important ServSafe questions and answers that may come in the test. Which of the following practices is most effective in preventing the spread of viruses in a food service environment? A. Washing hands frequently and properly. B. Using gloves while handling raw meat. C. Keeping food at proper holding temperatures. D. Cleaning and sanitizing surfaces regularly.
Okay, so I think that the answer to question number one would be answer A. Basically, the most effective way to stop, well, okay, not stop, but prevent or lower the risks of spreading harmful viruses is by washing your hands. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people get sick because they tend to touch things every single day, every single time of the day, and your hands are some of the dirtiest parts of your body if you think about it. So for example, if you go to the bathroom and you're working in a kitchen, you should probably wash your hands. And if you touch something while preparing food, you gotta wash your hands, because basically what you're trying to prevent is any possibilities of cross-contamination. And if cross-contamination happens where you're preparing food and then you go on the side and you touch, let's say, I don't know, the fridge handle to get something out of the fridge, that handle is very dirty and you transferred some bacteria or viruses or some stuff on your hands. So therefore, you do not want to go back to preparing your food with the same hands that are not washed, because therefore you could transfer whatever you got off of that fridge into the food that you're going to be preparing and serving. So the answer is A. Let's find out what they say about it.
Correct answer, A. Washing hands frequently and properly is the most effective practice for preventing the spread of viruses in a food service environment. Viruses can be easily transmitted by contaminated hands, so proper hand washing helps to remove any virus particles that may be present. The other options, B, C, and D, are important food safety practices, but they primarily target bacteria and other pathogens rather than focusing specifically on preventing the spread of viruses. Which of the following types of food are most commonly linked with norovirus contamination? A. Raw meat and poultry. B. Fresh fruits and vegetables. C. Ready-to-eat and shellfish. D. Canned and processed food.
Okay, so for question number two, I would say that the answer to that question would be answer A. And the reason I say that is because, well, I do not know how to explain it. Basically, all I know is that because of norovirus, most of the time, norovirus is caused by basically raw meat and poultry. I don't know why. I don't know how to explain how that really occurs and all. I can't get into the specifics because honestly, I don't know. I just know that that's basically where norovirus most of the time occurs from. But let's hear them kind of explain it a little bit so that way we can understand a little bit more.
Correct answer, C. Ready-to-eat foods and shellfish are most commonly linked with norovirus contamination. Ready-to-eat foods, such as salads, sandwiches, and bakery items, can become contaminated if handled by an infected person who has not properly washed their hands. Shellfish, particularly oysters, can become contaminated by norovirus when they filter water containing the virus. The other options, A, B, and D, can be associated with other foodborne pathogens, but they are less commonly linked to norovirus contamination.
Okay, so it looks like my initial answer was correct in some way. It's just that I really couldn't explain exactly how it works. But from what it sounds like it mostly has something to do with having good hygiene. Basically, all goes back to that whole thing that we were talking about back earlier about washing hands and making sure that you prevent any possibilities of cross-contamination. So basically, like she said, when it comes to handling ready-to-eat food such as salad, I think she also said shellfish. Yeah, basically those things that are ready to eat, that are not going to be cooked or processed or anything like that, if they become contaminated, there is no further preventing the contamination part of it. There is no cleaning it off. There is no heating or burning the bacteria or whatever that contaminated the food. Basically, all that's left over to do is to throw everything away and start all over from scratch, which that would be money going down the drain that you could have literally used, but you would be losing money because of an employee who for some reason decided that it would be smart to kind of ignore the safety of your customers and, well, the safety food code. So I guess the answer is officially C, but like she said, also the other correct answers would be A, B, and of course C. So let's go ahead and get into question number 3 and see if we can get it right. When she answered C, I thought for a second there that I got it wrong, but I was redeemed when she said that technically answer A is also correct. I was kind of in the right area, but in my mind I was in the right area slightly for the wrong reason. But I guess does that still count though? Would that count as me getting it? Because if that was actually on the exam and I answered that way, that would probably be a complete miss. I don't know, but let's go ahead and go into question number 3.
To the proper hand washing guidelines, how long should hands and arms be scrubbed once the soap has been applied? A. 5 seconds. B. 10 seconds. C. 15 seconds. D. 20 seconds.
Okay, so looking at question number 3, according to my past or previous studies that I learned about this, the amount of time that you need to scrub your hands should be between 10 to 15 seconds, but in total, washing your hands should take at least 20 seconds, or as we've been told as kids, you should wash your hands for as long as it takes you to sing happy birthday at least twice. I'm not sure how those two correlate together, but according to the food safety or the FDA or whatever, according to the food safety, the longest amount of time you should scrub your hands should be between 15 or 10 to 15 seconds, which I think the answer would be letter C, which would be 15 seconds. So let's find out what she says.
Correct answer, D. Once soap has been applied, hands and arms should be scrubbed for at least 20 seconds. This duration ensures that the soap has enough time to effectively remove dirt, grease, and potential pathogens from the skin's surface. Scrubbing for less than 20 seconds may not be sufficient to ensure proper hygiene and reduce the risk of spreading foodborne illnesses.
So it looks like I got that answer wrong, and I'm not sure if it's because, according to the food safety rules, I'm not sure if the answer varies, but at the same time, it sounds like they're basically in the same kind of area, 10, 15. Well, there is a big difference. I mean, 10, 20 seconds, that's kind of really a big difference. But I'm not saying she's wrong, but from what I've learned from actually taking the courses from the FDA, SurfSafe Manager, I've been told that you should scrub your hands for at least 10 to 15 seconds. So I can't decide if I'm wrong or if she's right, because this is a practice test, and the FDA, well, according to the FDA, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I would consider this question, but at least I know now that if I'm going to answer the question for the actual exam, I'm gonna have to shoot my numbers high instead of going low, because technically the actual answer is you want to actually scrub your hands for as long as necessary. Like, don't scrub your hands for 2 seconds, because obviously, like, what exactly are you cleaning off your hands, scrubbing your hands for 2 seconds? You know what I mean? Because I've seen this happen. I've seen people literally just run water over their hands for like 2 seconds and then just shake it off and just walk out of the bathroom, and I'm like, come on, bro, why? You gotta do better. So yeah, so if I'm going to answer the actual question on the actual exam, I'm going to make sure that I start shooting for a higher number. But in my mind, it's set that it should be at least 10 to 15 seconds. But if I do have the options to say 15 to 20 seconds, that's what I'm going to say, I guess, initially, just to make sure I'm on the safer side of, possibly getting the answer more correct, so I don't get red flagged.
Hand care practice. For less than 20 seconds may not be sufficient to ensure proper hygiene and reduce the risk of spreading foodborne illnesses. Which of the following hand care practice can help prevent the spread of pathogens in a food service environment? A. Wearing jewelry on hands and wrists. B. Using hand sanitizers after hand washing. C. Keeping fingernails long and polished. D. Covering open wounds with a bandage and a glove.
Okay, so for question number 4, they're questioning what steps can you take to be safe around food while preparing food with your hands. And for this question, I'm seeing 2 different possible answers that would actually work with this. So the first one is A, which says you should use hand sanitizer after washing your hands, which, yes, maybe you should do that. I mean, it's not very necessary after you wash your hands, but you can do that. What hand sanitizer does is it doesn't completely kill off or stop any pathogens or bacteria. What it does is it reduces the bacteria that's on your hands to a very low minimum. So it doesn't kill it off, it just kind of drops the number of bacteria on your hands. So that's one. That's one that I'm looking at. The second one would be letter D, which it says cover any wounds or I guess scars or cuts with bandages, which technically, yes, you don't want somebody who has an open wound working with food because you don't want blood dripping into your food or something that you're preparing, because obviously blood, it's considered a biohazard. It's a contamination. Biocontamination is one of the biggest no-nos when it comes to food safety. Make sure you cover up when you have any cuts or wounds on yourself. So, but for this question, I'm probably going to be leaning more towards answer A, use hand sanitizer. But something tells me obviously that she's going to mention both of them. But let's find out what she says. I'm not just going to guess and not listen. Okay, so I can definitely see why she would say that answer A technically isn't advised, because it could assist in causing more contamination, because when you use hand sanitizer it could cause more contamination, just because hand sanitizer is technically a chemical, and chemical contamination is one of the big things on contamination with food safety. So we also don't want chemical contamination happening at all. So I guess I don't understand that one. Now, when I initially answered this question, I was looking at answer A from a different perspective, honestly. But now I understand that although using hand sanitizer to kill off bacteria and all that, at the same time you gotta think, like, if you do use chemicals like that, sure, you're preventing one thing, but you're going to be causing another thing. So at the end of the day, you're going to be doubling back. So yeah, that's good to know. That's really good to know. Let's go ahead and listen to question number 5, and that might be the last one for the day, just because, like I said, the video that she made is about 30 minutes long, and I'm not just going to sit here and do it all at once, because that would take pretty much all night and I wouldn't have enough footage space to upload this video, obviously, if I did all that, since I'm recording with my phone right now. So let's go ahead and check out question number 5, and let's see if I could get it right.
Correct answer, D. Covering open wounds with a bandage and a glove is an important hand care practice that can prevent the spread of pathogens in a food service environment. Open wounds, such as cuts or burns, can potentially harbor pathogens and contaminate food. By covering the wound with a bandage and wearing a glove, food handlers minimize the risk of spreading pathogens from the wound to the food they are handling. The other options, A, B, and C, are not recommended practices, as they can either hinder proper hand washing or increase the risk of contamination. Must food handlers change their gloves? A, as soon as they become dirty or torn. B. Before beginning a different task. C. After an interruption, such as taking a phone call. D. After handling raw meat, seafood, or poultry, and E. Before handling ready-to-eat food. F. All of the above.
Honestly, for question number 5, I would say that the proper answer to this question would be F. I think that was the last one, the last answer, because what it is it says all of the above. Because if you read those, it looks like it lists out all the possible actions and things that are happening in a basic work area where you're basically not just working like you should be doing, because there will always be some interruptions and things that are happening around you that will cause you to start walking around and touching things that you really shouldn't be touching while preparing food. And so I definitely understand, like, if you touch your phone is very, very dirty. So if you touch your phone with gloves that you are using to prepare food, you should immediately afterwards take those gloves off, wash your hands, put on fresh gloves, and get back to work. Very same thing after you handle raw meat or other foods. You do not want to come from handling raw meat straight to handling, let's say, a salad or vegetables, or touch buns, or you can't be touching other things after you touch raw meat. The only other things that you could touch with gloves that you've been touching raw meat with is the cutting board that you were cutting on, and also the knife that you've been using to cut the meat. That's it. After that, you gotta discard. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. You gotta discard. You gotta discard the gloves, and then if you're going to go into doing something different, again, wash your hands, get fresh gloves, and get back to work. And that's it. So it sounds like I kind of understand the basics of food safety so far. I almost got one wrong. Overall, I've kind of got all of them correct, except for, I would say, 2 that I slightly got off a little bit, but I was still in the vicinity. Yeah, that's the right word. But it sounds like I should be confident, since so far I'm doing okay. You guys let me know what you think out there, if you ever taken the food safety exam for a ServSafe manager, and let me know what you think about this, and let me know what was your highest points that you got on that exam. And maybe tell me what your trick was to studying, because by the time you tell me, it's probably gonna be too late. I probably would have already have taken the exam, obviously, since it seemed like 3 days. But it doesn't matter if it's before or after. It's just the fact that if I get more knowledge from other people who've experienced it, then that means I have more knowledge to use later down the line to help me towards this food business that I'm really chasing down the road. So other than that, guys, I love y'all very much, man. Thank you very much for watching. Until then, stay safe, love one another. I love you guys. Peace.